Because that's really what's at stake here, is stepping into our true identity as Christians, as fellow believers in the church.
It's a mystery of the Christian faith, which is filled with theological significance, going back to the plagues in Egypt and the command to bring the firstborn to the temple, and the promise of the Lord coming to his temple suddenly, filling it with light, purifying it, all of these things. What I said then to the students is something that my spiritual director had said to me. He said, all sin is just unrelated grief. In other words, when we have grief, which comes because the bridegroom is not with us, which comes because we're waiting for the Lord and aching and longing for his coming. It comes then in derivative form in all of the sorrows and hardships of our lives and the times in which we live. When we don't relate that to God, when we instead allow it to turn us in upon ourselves and become frustrated or flustered or incapacitated or angry or sullen or resentful, when we allow that grief to mark us in that way, then we're not holding it up to the Lord, who then has the power to transform it by the sweetness and beauty of his presence. The conversation between Frodo and Gandalf, when Frodo says, I wish that none of this had happened. I wish the ring had never been found. I wish it hadn't come to me. And Gandalf says, so do all who live to see such times, but that's not their choice. All that we can do, the choice that we have, is how to respond to the times that we've been given. And that's not an unworthy task. In fact, it's a task that we can rally to because we have the spittle for it. And we have the grace for it, too. God's given us that. I say to our students at the University of Mary all the time that there's no room for nostalgia in the Christian life, that it's not a Christian thing. One can gaze with admiration upon the things of the past, but not with a kind of possessive longing, because that's not what we were made for. We were made for these times.
Yeah. When I first started really, encouraging people to pick it up and read and all the rest of it, there wasn't just a few that seemed kind of reticent to the message. But what I saw in some was this resistance to the idea, that very fundamental idea that Christendom is dead, that Christendom no longer exists, because I think they still do equate the church and Christianity with Christendom. And of course, nobody wants to hear that the church is dead, that Christianity is completely irrelevant. But that's not at all what it is. It's just the culture animated by, Christian moral order and all the rest of it. But one of the things that you speak about is how important it is for us to understand the battle is really about, it's an anthropological battle. It's understanding the human person. And the refusal to believe in postmodernism. The church needs to rise. It really is presenting a vision of humanity, the human person, in all of its proper place as being made in the image and likeness of God, with that dignity.
Both the religion of the day and the religion or the faith of Christianity acknowledge evil in the world, but located in different places.
Yes.
We believe in the fall. We believe that the human race has rebelled and needs to be rescued, and that God has come to rescue us, and that's the good news. The religion of the times in which we live believes also in evil, but locates it external. That there's no need fundamentally for internal reform so much as the throwing off of oppression and the rearrangement of circumstances and a particular kind of education and all of those things. And it does all in the end come down to anthropological questions. When Jesus says, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free, he means the truth about God and the truth about the human person and the truth about the world in which we live.